everyone. Today we're going to change things up a bit. We're actually going to make an American classic. Rather than our culinary adventure, we're going to stop off a little bit at home and we're going to make a meatloaf. The recipe is actually for a ground turkey meatloaf. Preference here, I'm going to use ground beef, but if you've never cooked with ground turkey, I definitely encourage you to do so and try it out, see what you think. Also, the recipe has egg substitute, which is another great product for you to play around with. Again, we're looking for something different. However, today I'm going to just use standard ground beef and an egg. But there are, some options. So choose what you like and have fun with this recipe. Meatloaf is really I know it gets another reputation that a lot of people are like, oh, meatloaf. Well, I like meatloaf because you can put in some vegetables, so it can be a veggie packed meal, and you can also add in a whole grain with some oats. So that's what we're going to do today. So we'll go ahead and get right on into it. First of all, we're going to make a tomato sauce. I have half a cup of water in my pot here, and we're just going to get that started to boil. To our water, we're also going to add in a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. If you can find a no salt added, that's a great option. I can't find it at our store. To our tomato sauce and water mixture, we're also going to add half a cup of dry red wine. These little bottles are really convenient because we're only going to use 4 ounces, and I believe they're 6 ounces total. If you don't like using wine in your recipes, perfectly fine. Just substitute in beef broth. That would be great. Or if you're using the ground turkey, you could use chicken broth or stock, or even a vegetable broth. That would be fine too. Here's our 4 ounces of dry red wine. Next, I'm going to add in a half a teaspoon of basil. Just dried basil. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. And 1 minced clove of garlic. And bring this to a boil and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Okay, while that's simmering, we're going to move on to the meat mixture. So I have 1 pound of hamburger meat and 1 egg. I'm going to add these to our bowl here. Half a cup of shredded zucchini. I did a fine shred on this, and it's a little bit more than half a cup, but it's about one small zucchini's worth. This is going to add in a lot of great moisture to our recipe. 1 cup of oats. The last ingredient that we need to add to our mixture is half a cup of our tomato sauce. And now we'll just mix it up. I'm going to try to be pretty gentle with this because I don't want to pack the ground meat. That'll make it really dense and the texture will be kind of off. So I'm going to try to just kind of fold everything in. Make sure it's well mixed, but just not pressed in really hard together. Now, at this point in the recipe, it says that we can shape it and put it in a loaf pan, or shape it in a loaf pan and bake it in that. What my mom does and what I like to do is actually just freeform it in a pan where any of the drippings and stuff can just kind of, I don't know if you want to call it seeping. They're going to cook out. They're going to cook out of the meatloaf. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, at this point, I'll switch over to using my hands, my clean hands, and and shape it in my pan here, which is greased. And this is soft, so we'll just put it in the pan and then shape it in the pan. It may not be as pretty as the loaf pan, but it'll do. Again, the nice thing about this is that you don't have to worry about any of the drippings being stuck in there when you serve it. If you wanted to, you could always put this in a loaf pan to get the shape and then transfer it to the pan that you're actually going to bake it in. Now we'll put this in our 350 oven for 45 minutes. Because it's not in the loaf pan, it may finish a little earlier than that, so I'll probably check it at about 30 and see if the internal temperature is around 165. That's going to be our goal temperature because it is a hamburger dish. I just pulled the meatloaf out of the oven. It's at 165, which is where we want it to be. It's a little over that, so that's good. I chose to leave the tomato sauce off rather than baking it in the last 15 minutes like the recipe recommends. Do as you like. It's just a preference, not so much for me, but as for my spouse. So again, you can do as you would prefer there. But I hope you enjoyed this new spin on a meatloaf recipe as we took our little pit stop in our homeland, and then we'll continue on to our next destination and our international journey. Enjoy.